Guys, what am I? What am I? Alright, fine. I'm a moving target. That's the title of today's episode of Call of Duty League R&D. So far on Call of Duty League R&D, we've talked with doctors, scientists, and experts about the brain. But what good is the brain without a Call of Duty operator to control? In this episode, we're looking at pure gameplay, specifically movement, and how much that has impacted the players of the Call of Duty League.
Movement is probably one of the most pivotal concepts when it comes to competitive Call of Duty. It allows you to camera around corners for advantages in gunfights that you wouldn't have otherwise. It allows you to get out of gunfights that you wouldn't otherwise. The list goes on and on.
We can talk about aiming and reaction time and stuff like that, and that's fine when you're in a static position, but when you're playing COD, you're not really usually in a static position, right? For too long, you have to move, and sometimes that's part of strategy, of course.
They find the kill, and Toronto Ultra win!
I'm usually on average the last person to enter the fight, or I'm watching over teammates, or I'm blocking a spawn. Traditionally, you have like 2 SMGs per team, and those are usually the 2 quickest on the team. Then you have the flex player, who is usually the 3rd quickest, and then the AR, who is technically the slowest. But when I say slowest, I mean it's not like he's a turtle in the back of the map. It's just that usually that person, because of the role, is just like a little further back and watching over people while they go set pace and engage.
Movement for me is probably a tiny bit of the gameplay. Some people would say I'm more of a methodical player. I prioritize positioning the most, and I tend to try and remember things that work and things that don't work in game. So it's not flashy style like doing these crazy jumps.
Oh my God, fancy again! Let him know!
Not a lot of people, I guess you could say, like, value movement, but in terms of the way I approach it, my movement style is definitely, I probably would just say, unique. I feel like when you watch me, it's like I'm doing all this to be flashy, but in reality, that's just kind of how I flow.
It's what people love to see. I feel like it's one of those crowd pleasers, something that gets people hyped when they see some crazy movement.
He cannot miss! He cannot miss!
There is a lot of value, I think, in that erratic movement when the sense of, like, the unpredictability for your opponent to understand what's going on. You're taking them out of that sense of confidence. You're making them think. That could slow down the reaction time, possibly make them make poor decisions.
Movement used to not be very important, but then jetpacks came around, and that's when everyone started to really get a scuff and do all the different stuff that you needed to do in order to perform at the top with movement. Pre-jetpacks is boots on the ground. That's when you had JCap running the scene, so the movement wasn't too great. And now the slide cancel is where you get your shotsies, and that's kind of the era that we're living in now.
Shotzzy again on the flank!
Everyone said that my team was like the first ones to ever do it, and I'm not like 100% sure they're right about that, but we realized that it's really, really good because in MW there was like, I think it was like a 12 hertz tick or a server or something like that, but basically if you were the opponent and you were holding a pre-aim on, you know, any type of angle, but the person on the other screen slide cancel around the wall, they were able to see you first and they would just kill you. That's why all you saw in the CDO was just everyone slide canceling everywhere.
When you look at people like Shotzzy play, it's just there's a significant skill gap when it comes to movement. So that's just another thing as a professional player that you could argue that you just have to add to your arsenal.
You can do a lot more with the game now than when I competed. When I competed, it was kind of like playing chess. You didn't have all the sliding and all these different combat mechanics that kind of increase speed of gameplay. The pace of play is night and day compared to when I played. Like the game we had last year with Vanguard, like you saw people just sliding around corners nonstop, just being constantly aggressive, trying to push the game to be as chaotic as possible. And these young guys have no fear. They will go in and chow you. No matter how good your position is, they are coming for you. These guys are getting 50, 60 kills a game sometimes. It's just absolutely insane amount of engagement. So the pacing and the speed at which things go and happen now are a lot quicker, which have made the decision-making front and the ability to think a lot also more difficult because of the fact that things happen quicker.
Because you can't separate the brain and the body, it could have negative consequences for your opponents who even take a split second longer to think about something when you don't have to.
A lot of people on this day and age are looking for that next player who can set the pace, right? That next crazy, mechanically talented 18-year-old who's going to run in and do his thing.
Like it or lump it, Movement has been king of the Call of Duty League for the past 3 years. Or has it? I don't know. I was just kidding. I just like to get the comments going, you know. Healthy debate is good for business and for this show. This has been the Call of Duty League R&D, sponsored by AimLab. Be nice in the comments, please. Please.